Now you motivated me last time we had you on because I had a life insurance policy, but you was flowing on that life insurance policy. I actually called my agent and I upped
Mhm.
my life insurance severely.
Yeah.
And I was really worried because of this day and time. I could imagine if I got the virus, I got sick. I wanted to make sure not only my family was taken care of, we had a little generational wealth. Just
Yeah.
go into that life insurance again, how important it is for our people.
So the first thing is what I really want everybody to do. I mean, like literally do an assessment of what are you really worth in numeric terms, and let's leave the uh, retirement accounts, the equity and property. Let's leave that all to the side. Let's just talk in terms of income. All right. Let's say you're a person making $70,000 a year and you are 45 years old. So you're expecting to work at least another 20 years. Okay. Your household, your family is looking for that 70,000 over the next 20 years, right? That's $1.4 million dollars that is expected at a minimum, right, in your
Right.
household, because you expect to make at least what you're making now every year for the rest of your life, and hopefully a whole lot more. Okay, so the
Mhm.
reality is that if your family's still going to need that money, why is the average person out here actually insured for $50,000 to $75,000? What is that going to pay for? Is that going to pay a house off? Is that going to provide income? See, the number one thing when you're insuring a life, right? What you're really insuring is your lifetime income. Okay, and I'll tell you how you know this. If you go out right now and you step off the curb and you get hit by a drunk driver, right?
Mhm.
When, it'll be very sad that you passed away, but your heirs or your spouse is going to go find themselves a lawyer, and they're going to sue that individual and their insurance company that hit you. And guess where they're going to start the lawsuit? They're going to say Everett was making X a year. He was this many years old. This is how much money, this is how much of his lifetime income we just lost. That lawsuit, using that $70,000 example again, 20 years left to work, that lawsuit starts at 1.4 million and goes up from there. Okay? So why would you walk into court and say, I just lost 1.4 million, and so I'm suing this person for killing my loved one for a million and a half, 2 million, $3 million. But then he said, if the judge said, well, how much was Everett insured for? Oh, he was insured for 50 grand.
Right.
It's like, so now, normally when people hear you need $1 million life insurance policy, people hear dollar signs. Oh my God, that premium must be out of this world, right?
Mm.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Exactly. It's not that bad. It's not that
No,
bad.
it's
I
not
was
bad at all.
actually
I mean,
shocked.
when you really, bruh, listen, I'm telling you, like, even at this age, now there's there's different types of life insurance, because there's term, which is just death protection, and then there is cash value life insurance.
Mhm.
I'm the biggest advocate for cash value life insurance, but you start where you can start from a financial standpoint. Get the term to cover what your real need is.
Right.
If you really need 2 million, get yourself $2 million in what is called convertible term, which is a term policy that you can convert over to whole life when you have more income, right? That's
Mhm.
very, very, very important. So there's regular term, there's convertible term, and there's cash value, right? And then there's 4 or 5 different types of cash value insurance. I only deal with whole life insurance. That's the only type of insurance I will buy and whatnot. And I'll only buy convertible term when I need to cover a large amount of money. I'll only buy convertible term that converts to a whole life policy. Okay. Now,
Mhm.
a person 45 years old might go out and be able to get $1 million in coverage for less than $200 a month. Okay. Now you've got your Toyota sitting outside, you got your BMW sitting outside, and you're paying $170, $220 a month for auto insurance in case you have a car accident. But you ain't spending $200 to get
Right.
$1 million plus in coverage to cover the thing that makes all the other things possible, which is your life.
Right.
It is crucial. We have got to not just stop. We talk about, oh, such and such died, he didn't have any life insurance. Now people gotta ask people for money to bury him and all that. I don't care nothing about that, right? That is what it is. This only thing burial policies do is make morticians rich, right? And I'm not knocking morticians. I'm just saying that's not the real need there. The real need is you have responsibilities.
Exactly.
We have spouses, we have households, we have children, we have legacies. And when you're going to work making money and you're not taking your first dollars and investing in your legacy, listen, all insurance money is 100% tax-free. If you got $10 million in life insurance money, your heirs get it 100% tax-free. Nobody knows they have it. They don't have to report it, right? And they can build on it. And not only should you have it, your kids should have it. Every life is that valuable. Now, when you really understand how this works, the most valuable asset you have, when you really understand insurance, you can teach your kids the most valuable asset they have is their youth. Because see, $1 million or $2 million in coverage for you costs one thing, it costs them half that amount.
Mm-hmm.
So if $2 million is costing you $200 a month, it's costing them $75.
Exactly.
That's the best use of $75 that they could have. Why? Yeah. Because if you're an African American, guess what? Normally, you have degenerative health. By the time you hit 40, high blood pressure, this, that, and the third, which then get your policy rated, right? When you go to apply for a policy, they say, Everett, how tall are you? You say, oh, I'm 5'11". They say, okay, well, how much do you weigh? If you tell them anything over 190, they're going to say, okay, well, I can't get you a preferred policy. Let me see if I can get you a regular, or it may be rated, and you can get rated on different levels. And now, me and you can have the same policy because I'm not on any medication, because I don't weigh over whatever this scale is they're using, and this, that, and the third, because I haven't had any maladies yet, right? I get a different premium than you do at the same age, okay? So your youth is, you insure yourself with permanent insurance in your youth, because that policy just builds and builds and builds. And at a certain point, if you get a policy when you're young, the thing will pay for itself ultimately. If you get like a cash value policy when you're young, in your 20s and stuff, that thing will pay for itself. By the time you get in your 40s and 50s, that thing will pay for itself. The one thing is that what people don't tell you, and why they don't promote this heavily, is that people don't understand that the real equalizing factor in a society is insurance. Most of the wealth of these families, when you hear the word trust fund, a trust fund is just a fancy word for such and such died, and his insurance policy paid off, and it didn't go to his heirs, it went to a fund, and the money off of that money goes to his heirs. That's a trust fund. I died, $10 million went into a trust for my heirs. The interest on that at 7% a year on 10 million is being distributed. $700,000 a year is being distributed to my heirs and will be for the rest of time. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's nothing that will ever stop that. It will be distributed for the rest of time. And I'm telling all of my heirs, all of you, while you're young, make that your first and best investment. Why? Because when you look at it, you think about the numbers. Think about investing $150 a month in $1 million policy, and you were 30 years old. So you're investing $1,800 $100 a year. In a decade, you're investing $18,000. In 2 decades, you invested $36,000, right? Okay, so now you're saying that in 4 decades, I'd be $72,000 into a policy that if I died anytime in the next 4 decades would pay out $1 million tax-free. How do you lose money on that investment?
Right.
Right? How do you lose money on that investment? And then if it had been a cash value policy, the cash in the policy would have built up to more than the premiums that I paid. So and effectively, that cash value policy would have actually been completely free. See, we're not given that game early enough in the cycle. So we're told about this when we're 50, when we're 60. And the number one thing you think when you really understand how this works is, damn, I wish I knew this when I was 20. It wouldn't have cost nothing. It would cost nothing.